Today we're going to have a look at photographing Yellowhammers. Yellowhammers are great songsters. They sing for hour after hour, but they only have one line. It's a very easy song to recognise and memorise because there's a little jitty that goes with it. A little bit of bread and no cheese. So you never tend to forget it. I think next to the cuckoo, it's the most easy bird song to remember. They will have a series of perches that they sing from. It'll be in a circuit around the territory, so they might sing from one for 30 seconds, or sometimes it can be for an hour. They just keep going on repeating that song. Then they move on to the next perch, sing there for a while, go around the entire circuit and come back to the first one. But they have regular song perches. Here in the Midlands it's quite difficult to do because we have a lot of tall hedges, a lot of tall trees. Usually easier to photograph yellowhammers on heathland, moorland, where there's not many trees, and they often sing from fence posts. Then you really stand a much better chance. I have done them in the Midlands on sand quarries where all the hedges have been flattened, and they tend to sing on the tops of the big sand mounds. These are the size of houses. So all I had to do was put a perch up on top of the sand and put a hide up at the other end and photograph them quite easily. But it just so happens here, for some reason, there's a very low song post that the Yellowhammer's been singing from. Not often, it's not there a lot, but I've seen it 3 times, and that's a magic number for me. If you see something once, it could be the first and only time it's happened, but once you've seen it 3 times, you think this is worth giving it a go. So it's a low post, it's this one, and the other advantage of this site is I don't have to put a hide up, because I can get the car just there, close enough to photograph it, and then that will give me opportunity to talk about supporting your lens from the car window. Wildlife photographers often use beanbags to support their lens. This is called a grappler beanbag. It's on the larger size, and it simply goes across the car door like that, and your big lens balanced on the top. And they come in a variety of colours. Whatever colour you want apart from black. Now I tend to use this smaller beanbag. It's called a gripper beanbag. It's full of chickpeas, which you can buy from your local supermarket. You can also fill them with rice. It really doesn't matter what goes in them. I've never really needed the larger beanbag. Before I swapped to Olympus Micro Four Third cameras, I had Canon gear, and I had the 500mm, the 600mm, ended up with the 800mm Canon lens, which was huge. But I still found the gripper beanbag was more than adequate to hold it. People like to fill them with polystyrene beans. I find that too lightweight, but I can understand it when you're using the heavier grappler, because that would be very heavy, full of chickpeas. The advantage of keeping it small, it's easy to move from one part of the window to another, or swap to the window on the other side. It's manageable. If it's too big, too heavy, your arm starts to get tired. And when you're on safari in Africa where you've got a pop-up roof, sometimes you're photographing from down here, low. Next thing you know, you're standing up, you keep pulling this up and down. I'm quite happy to have that size beanbag. My problem today is I don't just take stills pictures. I now take a lot of video, really enjoying the video work. Beanbags don't work so well for video. They're just not steady enough. So then I have the problem of how do I put a proper tripod head in the window. So that's what we'll look at next. So I can best demonstrate this by opening the car door, but it's a plate which I'll put onto the description underneath the video, and you just put your normal video head on top of the plate, and now we can pan and tilt. It's still not quite as steady as being on a tripod, but at least you can pan with it, and it simply drops onto the car door like that. It's adjustable. Just about every position on here can be manipulated. I'll take the camera off. So at the front here, to fit the width of the door, that can be modified, pulled out and backwards and forwards. The angle here can be changed with these two. that swivels backwards and forwards. And then the length of that can also be changed. So it's very flexible, very adjustable. Now from the position that I'm in at the moment, I don't like the background. I've got a half and half background, half green, half white. It doesn't work. I either want a totally green background or a sky background, one of the two. Now the sky is a bit white at the moment, but within 10-15 minutes I think it's going to clear. We're going to have a blue sky, and I'm going to go for the sky background. It means I've got to move the car forward a little bit to change the background. I need to check that in front of me there's no ditch, so I'm just going to go and walk in front of the car and then edge it forward a little bit. Okay, that's better. I'm happier with the background. I did mention at the beginning the bird wasn't coming in very often, and I had 2 sessions in the car, probably about 3 hours each, because that's as long as the light lasted, and the bird only appeared a couple of occasions. It's on the telegraph pole next to me a lot and on the telegraph wires, but just didn't come onto that post to sing. And unfortunately, every time it did, it missed out the cheese part of the song. Another dilemma I always have these days is whether I should be shooting video or whether I should be taking stills pictures, especially when your subject's not in front of you for very long. I did take some stills as well as video, but this is the only one I kept. So just to show you some previous pictures I've taken of Yellowhammers, similar situation but in a hedgerow, and you can see that I'm looking up a little bit at the bird here because the hedgerow's taller than I would like it to be. Always important for me to have a blue or black sky. I don't like white skies behind things, or a green background. You can bait up Yellowhammers in the winter, and this is in a reed bed, and this is one of my favourite pictures of Yellowhammer in a heavy hoarfrost. When you've got a really bright yellow bird like that in a hoarfrost, you can't go wrong photographically. They come in to drink quite a lot. They're thirsty birds. And that's all. Thank you very much.